Yeah, very good morning to all. Myself and Dr. Nishata, we will be conducting this sharing session. Touching on activities, coordination, and supervision. So this is a sharing session. It is not training. So we will share some best practices and also guidelines for FYP. So I will conduct the first session, and then after that we will do some small activities. We take a 15 minutes break. Then Dr. Nishata, she will continue on the second half for this sharing session. Okay, so this is the objective for today's sharing session. So first of all, we would like to share some knowledge and best practices that we observe for FYP coordination and also supervision. And then we hope that after this session, there will be some consistency of assessment, expectation, practices, and student support. So we hope that after this sharing session, we do come to consistency when we do assessment, we are all on the same page. We have the same understanding on FYP assessment and also FYP rubrics and what are the expectations from all the FYP assessment. Let's start the agenda. I will touch a little bit on the first few items, right? What is FYP? Why we need to do FYP? What are the processes involved in FYP? What do we expect from our students and some guidelines as a supervisor? And also FYP coordination. Okay, so FYP is a big word under this undergraduate program, regardless whether you're from engineering, SHBCA, whatever schools that you are in. So all students, they must undergo this FYP before they graduate. It is a process where they actually integrate whatever knowledge they learn from first year until final year, and to put them into a working prototype. So it is a venue where we actually grade the student whether he or she is suitable to go out into the market and being absorbed by the companies out there. I believe you have this kind of feeling. Here we sit down there, we evaluate the presentation of demo. So it is that in that half an hour, this candidate, Mary is fit to go out to the industry and work. So because she can present her work, she can answer all the Q&A, and she is very good. She just understands she can answer from A to Z. But however, another candidate, maybe Mutu, during that half an hour, he cannot put all his thoughts into his presentation. He cannot understand what you're asking, and he cannot demo. You ask him to demo, please turn this LED on for me, but he cannot demo it. So in that short half an hour time, we are afraid, do I need to pass this candidate? Is he fit to work, to go out to the industry? Because we want to keep a good record of our university name. So we will not want some weak students to go out, but he or she cannot perform. Later it will somehow impact our reputation. So it is a very crucial stage that we actually check whether a particular student is fit to go out into the industry. All right, the next one will be FYP stages. There are many stages of FYP, starting from project selection, project proposal, progress report presentation, poster, project demo, final report, executives, and then lastly is logbook. So what I'm sharing here is what we practice in School of Engineering, Glenmarie campus. For other schools, you might have your own process flow, but somehow it should be almost the same. Maybe it runs for about 10 to 20% difference, but the structure is here. So we run it for 2 semesters in School of Engineering. Okay, so the first project selection, project proposal, until the third progress report and presentation, it is carried out during FYP1. It is 1 semester work. And then on the right side, we have poster, project memo, presentation, final report, and executive summary. It will be carried out during semester 2 of FYP, the second semester of FYP. So for the item number 8 logbook, it is a continuous process from FYP 1 to FYP 2. So this is the breakdown of FYP weightage. So in School of Engineering, you can see that during FYP 1, the weightage that students carry is 15% from proposal and also progress report and presentation. Okay, for FYP 2, the remaining 80% poster until executive summary. So we will access student in FYP 2, while for logbook, this 5% it is continuous. Student will carry for 2 semesters. Okay, for 5% of FYP, a logbook. In the next slide, I will actually touch what do we expect from all these assessment components. Because as a coordinator, students, they do come and find me, Miss, what do I put in proposal? What do I write in proposal? Then after proposal, they will come and see me again. It means what do I put in my progress report? Then for presentation, they come and bug me again. It means what do I put in my presentation slides for progress presentation? Yeah, of course, during FYP briefing, I do conduct, but you know, students, they tend to forget, they come and bug me again. So from this sharing, I will share again. So I hope that as supervisor, you should be able to guide your students get what to put in, okay, because all these criteria we will use as evaluation. You need to get marks from evaluation. First one is project selection. So as a coordinator, before the commencement of a new semester, normally we will go and ask for titles, or we beg for titles from supervisor. Okay, Mr. Lena, give me 2 titles. Okay, Dr. Nishata, mechanical, got a lot of students, give me 5 titles, okay, things like that. So we will ask for titles from lecturer. So as a lecturer, what you need to do is normally you will need to, there is form for you to fill up. Those from School of Engineering, I'm pretty sure you know what to fill up. So when it comes to the committee, what we do is we check your FYP titles, whether your titles is suitable to be done, carried out by 100 graduate students. So what we check is whether your title has critical analysis or not. Okay, this component where students, they need to do some studies, okay, they need to do some analysis and then to conclude. Okay, apart from that, under EAC, we have a few guidelines to follow, like whether your project has complex problem solving, okay, and etc. So we follow EAC guidelines. We will read through your proposal. So the next step after writing, we have another working group, we call it the FYP committee. So in this FYP committee, we will read through your proposal. If we find it unsuitable or perhaps your project is too shallow, so the FYP coordinator will normally come back to you, ask you to amend your title so that it is suitable to be released. So I do feel a little bit bad as an FYP coordinator because I keep on chasing. So after review, I come back to you, Miss, can you change your title? Okay, please include this particular item. Your project is too shallow. Okay, can you include security in your project? So things like that. So all these processes, ding dong, here and there, it will take me about a few weeks to finalize the title. So once lecturer, after you have amended your project scope, I need to bring back to the committee again to discuss another round, okay, whether after your amendment, okay, we check whether it is suitable or not, okay, to be released to the students. So students in engineering group, you actually select your titles. Then after that, they will come to you, and then you will need to sign so-called a marriage certificate lah. Okay, so in that certificate is the marriage certificate between you and your student. You sign means both of you are together for 2 semesters. Okay, husband and wife, okay, must be together for 2 semesters. After you sign, so you cannot run away from supervision, and students also must be under your supervision for 2 semesters. Okay, you sign, your student sign, that's it. So the students will bring the form to me so that I know that you all are together. Okay, I endorse this marriage certificate. Okay, so after that, you can also brief your student what are the expectations. Okay, even though I release project details, sometimes students they do misinterpret. Whatever you write, whatever canggih things you write, they sometimes do misinterpret. Okay, you write you want this project, but somehow after he reads, he interpret differently. So before you sign marriage certificate, you can also brief your student your expectation, what you want him to do verbally. Okay, verbally. Whatever written is another story. So you need to inform again verbally. Okay, I want in the end, I want this working prototype. Okay, I want a climbing robot. Okay, for instance. If not, the student will interpret you want a flying robot. So everything needs to be clear. Okay, clear before you sign. Okay, it's just like marriage certificate. You need to understand your husband. If he got father, mother, okay, how many siblings, he got hutang or not, all this. Okay. I don't want to sign. Things like that need to be clear. Yeah, no records, huh? Please. Okay, next one. This is the first assessment that students need to submit. We call it the project proposal. So in School of Engineering, it carries a weightage of 5%. So what we normally check when we read and access the project proposal are all these items here. Okay, it is a very brief report. We don't expect 50 pages from project proposal. So it's like what you need to put in order for you to bid and win a tender. So whatever that you are doing, for instance, your project background, okay, why you want to do this. Okay, then after that, your objectives in timeline budget all have to be included inside this project proposal. Is for instance, you want to go and bid for tender. Of course, budget, right? So people will actually evaluate your budget. They want to give this tender to company A, okay, who is putting in 1 million, but he can deliver the same output. Okay, or give to company B, okay, who is asking for 2 million for the same output. So it works the same way, whatever budget timeline you need to put in. Okay, or objective. Okay, what are your project objective for you to achieve your outcome?
You can take this slide.
Okay, so as a supervisor and also examiner, under project proposal, these are the things you need to check. Okay, basically, like for me, I will be expecting around 15 to 20 pages. That's it. Okay, around 15 to 20 pages. Okay, for project proposal, 15 Okay, a short but comprehensive way of telling people what you want to do, okay, what is the expected outcome and why you want to do. Why you want to do this is very important. So we don't do for no reasons, okay, we do for something that I want to save the environment, okay, or I want to do something that is useful for society, environment, and etc. Okay, next one is a progress report and also presentation. So this is towards the end of FYP1. So in progress report, of course, students need to update whatever is lacking in proposal. So maybe literature review, okay, he or she needs to do some updating. Okay, perhaps you need there are something missing in literature review that he needs to top up in order for him to complete his project. So you update whatever that is lacking. Okay, for instance, resources, maybe under proposal, he only managed to identify 4 items to complete his project, but in fact, he needs more than 4. Okay, so you, as a supervisor, you need to check that students have already identified the sufficient or correct resources when it comes to progress reports and also methodology. So under proposal, okay, maybe his methodology is a little bit brief. Your students is missing some items that you think it is important, okay, for him to know before he move on to the next step. So progress report is where you ask your student or you check your students that all the details are included for him to execute his prototype. Okay, and in School of Engineering, we have presentation at the end of FYP1. So the purpose of presentation as an examiner, okay, we go into examiner students progress report. The first thing normally I check is whether the project is feasible. Okay, and the methodology that is adopted by the student is correct. So feasible meaning to say that, like I mentioned earlier, some students are very ambitious. Okay, he think he can do A to Z, but in fact, in these 2 semesters work, to you as a examiner or supervisor, because you have a lot of experience, maybe to you it is not so visible. So during progress presentation, maybe you can highlight to the students that he or she need to trim down a bit on the scope. It is too heavy for you for 2 semesters as an undergraduate. Okay, these are the things that you need to take note as an examiner when you evaluate your students. Okay, and besides project feasibility, the next thing would be, as examiners need to check is methodology. Okay, some students, they are still confused whether method A is okay or method B is okay. So he or she, sometimes they actually mix method A and B, but it's actually not working. To you is not working. So you need to highlight to the students, can ask him to check back some of the things that he or she should change. Okay, we highlight for you to take note lah. Okay, the next component is poster. So in SOE, we have poster presentation. So somewhere around week 9, you will see the second floor. Okay, posters are all up. Okay, students will be there to present their poster work. So poster work. Sorry, I think I didn't update this one. So, okay, poster is just a piece of paper where he summarized everything. It is more on visual impact. So we see, we understand, okay, from top to bottom what he or she is working on, okay, what are the results and so on. So it is a place for students to summarize his work for visual impact, okay, for visual impact. Okay, next one is final presentation and demo. So this is will be evaluated during FYP 2. Okay, when I was a student, I was very afraid of this because it is the place that just half an hour the lecturer can check all the things. Okay, whether you have sufficient knowledge or not. Okay, whether your prototype is working, and they will comment. Okay, this is the things that I'm afraid. Okay, some lecturers, they are a bit harsh on it. This is not working. Okay, how can you do this? Okay, some are a bit harsh. So like some students, they can take it, some cannot. So you need to have that judgment, okay, when you tell your students or when you are evaluating your students. Okay, so final report, it is, and demo, it is the last phase of FYP 2. So to students, it is a place for them to communicate well, okay, for them to talk and present their work, okay, for them to demonstrate their skills. Okay, maybe during 2 years they have learned something, okay, from a beginner programming. Then after 2 years, he's very good at programming already. So it is the place for him to demo. He opened whatever platform of GUI, he straight away can demo his coding skills for you. So it is a place for the students to demonstrate these skills or to show off that you. Okay, and then the next one is feedback and evaluation. So students will actually get your feedback, okay, as supervisor and also examiner, and for them to do improvement. Like myself, I normally I want feedback, okay, for the work that I'm doing, whether it's good or not good, or should I be making any more improvement. Okay, we normally want feedback for the purpose of improvement. Okay, logbook, it is 5%, okay, under the FYP umbrella. So it is a place where students record all the activities for 2 semesters, from FYP 1 to FYP 2. So there are many things that can be recorded in logbook. Okay, for instance, your literature review, okay, you can actually jot down his reading paper by Wong EPAL. So he can summarize all the literature review in logbook. Okay, this logbook also serves as a place where you collect data. Maybe you are into a laboratory that you feel that you don't want to bring laptop to collect data. Okay, you take your logbook and you jot down whatever data that you're collecting in your logbook. And the place for you to note down your observation. Okay, or you after collecting, you realize that your data is not nice. Okay, you can take a note and you redo your experiment. Okay, and also it is a place for students to reflect on project work. So if you don't pen down, you actually lost touch of how many hours you spend on this particular work. Okay, if you pen down, then you will know, okay, task A, I'm supposed to spend 2 weeks on task A from the Gantt chart that you have tabulated earlier. But in logbook, then you realize you're actually spending more than 2 weeks. Okay, you've spent 4 hours in task A. So all these things will affect your timeline. So from logbook, you can actually see that you're running out of time. You need to readjust somewhere along your activities. So the following activities, you might need to speed up or you make some adjustment, okay, in order for you to complete your project. So to me, it is very important. Okay, logbook, normally students think it's not important. Okay, but I myself, I think it is important. It is for us to reflect on your project work. Okay, whatever changes, if you keep track, you take note, you will actually realize that you're on time or you have excess of time or you are lacking of time. So we can look here from logbook. Okay, this is the logbook meeting record minutes that we practice in School of Engineering. So we have to sheet something like this. So every time student come and see you, you sign. Okay, you sign on the logbook. So whatever date, okay, whatever things that we discuss with you as supervisor, you should sign on the logbook. It is an evidence that students are meeting you regularly. My personal opinion is you have problematic students. You ask him to come and see you, but your student doesn't want, okay, because XYZ reasons that he is giving. So in order to protect ourselves, okay, now you can actually look here that I want to see you on 26 March. Okay, you note down, then it is evidence that you are doing your work, but your students is not coming to see you. Okay. So I highly suggest if you have problematic students, you do this kind of thing. It's somehow in your logbook, you note down. You look down, I want to see you on 1st May. And 1st May is not then I want to see you on 2nd May. Okay, so you note down, then students will know that he or she has to come and see you. He will do whatever homework that he has to do. So this is for if you find that your students is problematic. Okay, of course, supervision, it is very subjective. You need to understand your student character. Like some students, they might not like it if you put the time here that you want to see him, so you don't do that. Okay, you understand your student first. Okay, see how is she behaving. Okay, some are very independent. They do not want to come and see you. Okay, and you also don't want to see him because you know that he can actually complete the work by himself. So, like I said, you need to understand your students' behavior first. Okay, and the last one, final report is 50%. So you cannot run away from final report. It is a compilation of work, what you have done for 2 semesters into a 50% assessment. This weightage is very heavy. It is the key component of FYP2. So we cannot give a student A if he or she cannot put his thoughts into a final report. It is important. Okay, engineers, we don't only demonstrate, we need to compile work, summarize, and let other people know what we are doing. All these things will be in final report. Okay, we want to see analysis. Okay, you put in your thoughts and then you conclude your work. Okay, this is final report 50%. To me, I think this is important. This is a big chunk of the weightage, 50%. It is very important. Okay, last but not least, there is another 10% under School of Engineering. We put it for executive summary. So after students have completed all their work, they need to summarize their work into this executive summary. So from here, to me, it is more like whether students can summarize or not. Maybe final report, you have 80 pages. But how can you put that 80 pages into 6 pages of work? So students, they have to know what are the important things to be included in this executive summary. It is more on summarization and also writing skills to me. So this is, as a supervisor, you need to tell your students, you don't put unnecessary things in that 6 pages. You only look for important items. If you only look for important items. Okay, let's go to marking rubrics or whatever assessment that I highlighted. Okay, what is expected from students? There will be rubrics to evaluate all the components. Okay, for instance, here I only take a piece of final report project assessment here, which is abstract. There are 5 columns from excellent until below expectation. So these but after you read, so if you feel that the student is meeting all these requirements, we actually give you a 5 marks, say 5 out of 5. Okay. So we need to be on the same page for marking rubrics. Okay. When we evaluate students, we need to refer to marking rubrics. If there is no marking rubrics, the whole marking system is haywire. So I will be giving 5 marks. If no marking rubrics, maybe lecturer A will be giving 2 marks. So it is not so fair to students. If he is demonstrating good work, if you evaluate him lowly, that is not so fair to students. So when you mark, please open up the marking rubrics. Okay, I'll be sharing some general guidelines. Okay, supervisor role, FYP coordinator role. Okay, your supervisor role, for me, we only guide students. Okay. It is still very subjective. It's up to you how you want to guide your student. Like from my own personal experience, I was being thrown into the sea. I learned how to swim. Okay, my FYP work, it is about a collaboration project with chemical engineering department. So the first thing my supervisor, what he did, he brought me to chemical engineering. Okay, this is lecturer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is your project. Then that's it. that's it. Nothing more from my supervisor. So I have to go to chemical department by yourself, collect data back, come back to electrical engineering and collect some others. Okay, that's it. Then all he did was, of course, as a supervisor, he need to back through what I have written, okay, things like that. So I'm all on my own for 2 semesters. Okay, but I do feel it is good. Okay, it is good. It is the due to his guidance, the throw you into the sea guidance, I learned to be independent. Okay, I source from my own information, whatever equipment, I learned how to deal with lecturers and students from chemical department. But maybe there are some other style of supervision. If you think that you need to really guide your students, you give your students a journal A, B, C, D, you ask him, these 2 weeks you read journal A, another 2 weeks you read journal B, then you come to me and discuss. So there is this kind of supervision. So it is up to you, okay, based on your understanding of this particular student, you guide your students in an appropriate manner. But for me, my tagline is your project. This is your project. You want A, you need to work hard for your project. Yet I'm only here to guide you. Okay? Like there are some guidance that you really need to work it out with your students. That for instance, he or she need to use a particular equipment that is not available in UOW Malaysia. Okay, he might not know context out there. Okay, like these kind of cases, you might need to arrange some services for him. Maybe you know somebody in the mosque, okay, some lecturers in UKM, UPM that offer this kind of services to complete your project. So in this kind of scenario, we need to step in. Okay, we need to step in. Okay, we contact Professor A here from UKM. My students will be coming here. Then maybe the rest of the liaising you can give it to your students. Okay, this kind of guidance we need to step in. Okay, we need to step in. But like some students, they also tell me, my supervisor gave me 20 papers. He asked me to read it 2 weeks. And they will kind of complain to me. Yeah, like some supervisor, very cool. You find your own paper. You go and find your own paper. You cannot find, then you let me know. Yeah, this is also another way. We ask students to sort for their own reference paper. If they cannot find, then we need to somehow give guidance. Okay, we need to find a way to give him that paper that he didn't manage to find. Okay, So the next thing is, of course, we need to have regular meeting with students. This is also very subjective, but I do recommend regular meeting with students. For instance, FYP one, maybe not much of work done. I suggest maybe 2 weeks once for you to get update from your students during FYP one. Okay, every 2 weeks you check whether your students is progressing or not, whether he has finalized the methodology for the project or he has purchased the appropriate items for his project. So every 2 weeks we check with students for FYP one. Okay, this, like I said, are very subjective. Some students are very independent that they don't come and find you. Okay, like then moving on to FYP two, okay, maybe you need to have more regular meeting with your student. It is where students are working on the project already. Okay, maybe something goes wrong, you need to interfere. So for FYP two, my suggestion, weekly. Okay, weekly for FYP two. Just my suggestion, okay, it is very subjective. Okay, your next role is to read whatever submission that students is giving you to verify. Okay, you need to read. Okay, this is to ensure that there is no typo in the report because I do not want to send a physical FYP handbook to my examiner, but there are many typos inside. Okay, so you need to read and verify whatever report that students are submitting to you. Okay, this one also students complain to me. Okay, this I've given my supervisor 2 days ago to read my report but no response. Then I'll be very mad at my student. And whoever that come and complain, 2 weeks and you expect your supervisor to respond to you? Okay, no, 2 days you expect your supervisor to respond to you. Okay, because the submission is tomorrow. So the day before or 2 days before you submit to your supervisor, you ask him to read. Maybe 80 pages. I will cakap pinggang like that lah. Looking at whoever come and complain. For students, normally you ask your students to submit earlier. Yeah, my style is I don't like a complete report by the end because it will take me some time to read through from chapter 1 until the last chapter. So I tell my students, okay, once you finalize chapter 1, give it to me. Okay, so maybe I will take around 1 week depending on my schedule. Okay, 1 week to complete a particular chapter, to read through and back through the particular chapter for you. So I actually tell my students, I do not want 3 days before submission, you give me 80 pages to read. Hello, I got some work to do, I got some other stuff to do. So you can tell the student upfront, whatever chapters that he has completed, just submit to you earlier first, for you to read through. Okay, and you need to check, okay, whether the students' work is free from plagiarism, and of course you need to feedback. You need to feedback to your students. So from all this regular meeting, you need to feedback to your students whether he or she is on time, whether he need to speed up somewhere, okay, or report is not up to standard, a lot of typos, you need to feedback. Okay, or there is no analysis. Students just tabulate results, but no discussion, things like that. So you as a supervisor, you should feedback to your student, okay, because you are reading his report before submission. Okay, these are our duties, as supervisor. Okay, and the next thing, what I want to highlight is the last point, is to maintain confidentiality on matters pertaining to FYP marks. Because in School of Engineering, okay, there are 2 markers that will be giving marks on a particular FYP assessment, for instance, final report. Okay, I do not like, okay, maybe you are giving your students, as a supervisor, you might be a little bit biased, okay, you see your student work hard, things like that, good student. You might be giving, for instance, 85 marks, because he is your student. Okay, but there will be another independent marker, okay, lecturer B. Okay, he might not know, okay, because the independent marker does not know your student. So he will just give marks based on whatever final year report that he is reading. So he might be giving a little bit lower, okay, maybe 70, 85 and 70, there's a huge gap. Okay, I do not like supervisor to go and tell students, I help you, a student, I help you, I give you 85, and I know that you're doing a lot of work. But the other lecturer A is giving you 70. So the agreed marks is somehow maybe 75 already. So it looks bad on the independent lecturer. So as a supervisor, please do not tell your students things like that. Okay. I want you to get A, but because lecturer A is very strict, okay, I give you 85, he give you 70. So in the end, we agreed to 75. Okay, please don't tell this kind of statement to your student. It's not healthy. Okay, it's not healthy. Okay, and the next thing, supervisor wrote to FYP committee. Okay, to FYP committee. Okay, first of all, I would like to highlight on the submission timeline because once we collect all the marks for you, we need to bring in for discussion. Okay, whether student A overall 80% is appropriate. Okay, student B, his report or his work is better, but he's getting 70. So it's not so fair for student B. So in FYP committee, we actually went through again all the components to ensure that it is fair for all our students. So we really need you to submit on time because sometimes there is a little bit of hiccup during writing. We need time to work through all the assessment components. So please submit to us on time. Okay, and another thing I would like to highlight is the comments that you are giving to your students. We have form, we have marks. Okay, like for instance, you give 85 marks. Isn't it 85 good? 85 is very good. It's A, it's A in KD, UW. 85 is A, no, A plus, A plus. Okay? 85 is A plus. But the comment that I'm seeing in the FYP form for final report, it is not reflecting 85. Okay, you give 85, wow, to me it's very good, 85, but you say lack of critical analysis. Okay, this kind of comments. So it doesn't tally with the marks that you are giving. So I'm seeing a lot of things like this. So please pen down comments that correlates with the marks that you are giving. If you are giving 45, I understand. Okay, you write that whenever that comments, a lot of typo, no critical analysis, data is not presented in order. Okay, for 45, you give negative comments. Okay, then after you give negative comments, please include some constructive comments that the students should, things like that. Okay, we are looking for constructive comments to help students. 85, please write good comments. Okay, report is good. Okay, information is arranged in an orderly manner. Okay, student did discussion on the things like that. So for near to A grade or A grade, I want to see good comments. Okay, your comments must tally with the marks given. Okay, and next slide is just to bubble a little bit of FYP coordination. Okay, outsiders are seeing us very easy. Okay, just coordinate. But in fact, I'm very tired, I think coordination is very tiring. Okay, first of all, I need to collect titles from lecturers. Lecturers, after marking, okay, you take 2 weeks off, then I need to text you. Mason, I want 3 FYP proposal from you. Okay, then 3 days quiet because everybody is on leave. Okay. Then after 3 days, lecturer will come back to me. Okay, if no response, I need to text again. Mason, just remember that. You owe me FYP titles. Okay, these are the things that we face. In titles, marks is very crucial. Your marks we need to present before SCB, things like that. So everyone who is texting lecturer Ikram, okay, have you submitted your marks? Ikram, I need marks tomorrow. It's FYP. FYP committee meeting. I need marks from today. I need to compile all the marks. These are the challenges that we face. I'm very sorry. Okay. whoever that I've texted for the past 2 years, I'm very sorry. Okay, now I can view. Okay, pass handle over FYP coordination to some other colleagues. Yeah, seriously, I'm very sorry, but no choice lah. So I believe some of you received my text messages midnight, things like that. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, like I said, these are the dilemmas. Like besides cheating for marks, there are some other things that I need to mumble and complain. Okay, we do that through proposals, but sometimes unfortunately we also reject some proposals. So I will go back to the lecturer. Okay, lecturer A, we don't release your title for this sub. It is because of this. Okay, then he will come and ask me, my proposal isn't it the same as lecturer B? How come his one got approved and mine got rejected? Okay, so I'm stuck in the middle. Yeah, and then I need to tell him nicely if this is lacking things like that. Okay. The next thing, student asking for extension for submission, I have no issue with student. Due date is due date, but the problem I face is lecturer come and ask me for extension. Of student, this is one big issue that I face. This is Sinjin. A student needs another additional 1 week for him to submit report. Your colleagues come and ask you for extension, then I will start to scratch my head whether to extend or not to extend. So these are one of the key issues that I face. Okay. And the last one is I come back to ask you to remark. Okay, for instance, after the committee review, okay, we realize that this report, you and another independent marker, you have agreed to 80. 80 is 8. But after the review from the FYG committee meeting, we think that this report does not deserve 8. Okay, there are some components missing from this report. So we come back to you, we ask you to remark. Okay, so you might be thinking, I've done my job, I mark according to rubrics, but to us it is the other way around. Okay, we do ask examiner and supervisor to mark. I know sometimes I feel bad also, you're so busy, I ask you to remark, you need to spend another few hours to read through, okay, and write some comments. Okay, that's all about supervisor's role, and also from the point of view from FYP coordinator and also FYP committee. Okay, next is referencing style. This is what UOW read. Okay, there are many reference styles out there, but we stick to APA. Okay, we have to stick to APA referencing style. Okay, this one you can go through later. This you can read your students later. So these are the referencing style, APA referencing style. Okay, there are many few ways for you to do referencing. You will tell the students, of course, you take note and can advise your students accordingly. Okay, if you want to do it manually, you can go to Word. Okay, under references, then the style you change to APA. So you key in all the items here. Author, title, journal name, year, pages. You need to a little bit of manual, but it's still working. I'm perfectly fine with this kind of key for you to do referencing. Okay, this is a referencing tool just using Word. You don't have to install anything. Okay, next is Mandarin. Okay, Mandarin. Maybe later can y'all just to help you the library, you'll go and subscribe lah. Okay, this is their YouTube channel. I think this is their YouTube channel. Okay, it's very complete. This kind of in UOW. I only realized when I start to do this lecture slides. Okay, they have their own YouTube channel. Okay, go and check it out. Okay, we have Mandarin. Okay, and also we have Zotero. Okay, it is another referencing tool that you can use. Okay, it is free. Go to UOW website, you can download. Okay, Mandarin you can download from UOW Malaysia Library website. The same goes to Zotero. Okay, it's up to you, up to your preference, whatever reference style that you like your students to use. The last one is FYP handbook. Our School of Engineering FYP handbook is very detailed. When I do briefing, normally I don't talk much. I will ask students to refer back to the FYP handbook. So all the details are here. So if students come and ask me for font size, formatting, spacing, things like that, I get very pissed off. I will tell the student it's all inside. Can you please go and read? Read first before you come and see me. If there are any information missing here, then I do apologize. If you come and see me, I will tell you. But things like all these minor things, students should actually read. Okay, and then you get the information from here. I will always tell them, this is your Bible for 2 semesters. Okay, this is your NYP Bible. Okay, that's all from me. Any question before we move?
It's a good question.
Huh?
You tell us where to fill in ethics form or how to ethics form filling is useful for project.
Ethics form. We have during together with proposal submission, we do have ethics declaration form for students to fill out. Okay, we have ethics declaration form. So students, you need to declare whether you are working on people, animal, things like that. Okay, every students have to fill out ethics declaration form, and also for School of Engineering.
For referencing style, like just now you mentioned, like they have few lah, but it depends on the supervisor. They see the school fix that everyone, all the supervisors, they have use this style, and school decision they say they can whether they want to use it
No. APA is fixed.
school lah.
For I think for the whole uni.
Because it's some feel right, they prefer to some lecturers, some feel they have their own preferences. So that's why I'm just curious, like for your school, that means they use APA.
Yes, it is compulsory to use APA. But for I think for it should be standardized across the uni.
Yeah, but I think that some lecturers they want to use their some school maybe which
Actually, I don't like APA. I like IEEE, but because you need to, because it's a university rule, so you have to follow lah.
This is
general APA, but I believe that it's freedom to use whatever.
no, I
In our university,
We have to use APA.
we follow one referencing style only. Like other institutions, for example, UM, UPM, they have their own fixed referencing style. It's fixed.
Oh, it's fixed.
It's fixed. So maybe for instance, UM they don't like AP, so they choose others. So but for UOW Malaysia, we go for AP. It's compulsory for us to use to follow for FYP lah, for FYP. But
The question is come on, because like now they have APA
seven. Now it's 7. So we use the latest APA version. Reference style. The APA is compulsory, but the tools that you are using is free. You have the freedom to choose whatever tools, referencing tools that you like to use. Okay, that's all from me. Okay, we break for 5 minutes. Later we come back. Maybe we will do a little bit small activities.
no coffee, coffee,
I got it for you. 3 in 1, 3 in 1, actually.
So this is a school for project coordinator. I need to prepare for.
Okay, no.
So that's why if engineering doing, you must
Welcome back to our session, Dr. Tan and myself, Nishata. I hope you guys have a good coffee break. And those who are online, I hope you guys can just stop doing whatever that you guys are doing there and just pay attention for a while. Those who are here physically, we are now going to do a role play activity. Can you guys divide yourself into two groups? So we have one group there, three. For those who are online there, you guys need to observe what these two groups are doing here physically. And later we will be asking you all to give some inputs, feedbacks. So,
Online,
please.
We also nominate one Oscar winner later.
Okay.
Oscar winner.
The playground. Showing,
I think later teaching drawing house.
go out.
Coming back, right?
Yeah,
Coming
we
back.
see something.
So we will like this. So yes.
They're online walkers. I want to see how.
Yes.
Oh, the beach one. Yes, it's the beach.
Okay, so the role play is like this. You are given two scenarios. Scenario one is the challenging final year project student. So James is a final year engineering student working on his FYP project. His project supervisor, Dr. Smith, is known to be very supportive and approachable like me. Despite this, James has been displaying a series of problematic and disrespectful behaviors. Highlight that problematic and disrespectful behaviors that are hindering his progress and causing friction in their interactions. Okay, so we have a very, very good supervisor, but we have a very problematic and disrespectful student. So now, this is scenario one. Scenario two, next slide. Next slide. Is the exemplary final year project student, a very, very awesome, good student. Say, Emily is a final year biology student working on an FYP project. Her project supervisor, Dr. Lee, is known for being supportive and encouraging, like Dr. Tan. Emily has been demonstrating a proactive and a good positive attitude, making significant progress in a project on effects of environmental change in local flora. So we have two situations here. One is very, very problematic, disrespectful student. Another one is very, very good student, good behavior student. So now we have divided you all into two groups. So one group will be doing the negative role, and another group will be doing the positive situation two. Situation one, situation two. So please discuss among your challenging student, challenging student.
So always it's two, right? Yeah, two.
Okay, so you have to, we will give you about 5 minutes to discuss. You have to identify who is going to have the role, play the role of the supervisor, who is going to play the role of the student. So each group here, you will have 2 representatives from each group. So you have to come out here and you will be playing out or acting out the role. Okay, and this role will be given feedback by our online colleagues out there. So we would like to interact. We would like to interact with each other. Online colleagues, can you all hear
So later, they want to assume that that is one of the meeting between supervisor and student. We can't need to have regular meeting. Okay, that will be one of the meeting. You need to add supervisor role and also the student role.
Okay, so 5 minutes for you all to discuss and identify your roles. 5 minutes for you all to discuss and identify the roles.
I was number 2, right? Yeah, I was number 2. But the digits. I'm the we have for us. Do you have it on your? No, I don't. You don't see the next slide. I don't think next slide. Yeah.
This is the sample. Sample.
She did. Yes,
Oh, okay. This is some example.
The P. This picture.
It's difficult.
Say it again. Challenges, their guidance, just use it here. Okay. Hari Rajat Smith, ulang. Atau Polisa, alright. Good morning, Krishna. Good morning, kids. So, Sania mo din. Yeah, so we did all students for me.
Yes.
You. Sure that you don't remember. But that's very what do you think? You didn't do much of reading, but I was expecting you can read it, just use all the text. Why not? Why did you learn this guide the students? Right. So my suggestion is that we would start off with finding.
Environmental change.
But it's going to be that's how the first time. Okay.
I mean,
Everybody is you are still I never find and speech because they come up with your topic. So it's there. I just like I can find people interest reviews that is a newspaper. Yes, newspaper nowadays.
Yeah, but you know, it's difficult to find the newspaper. Yes. Online because I just read TikTok and silence. What? The stuff? What stuff?
Because I think you can camera to. I'm feeling all this.
Tapi yang baik sampai ni.
It's frustrating. So I will show you previous discussions.
Tapi this meeting by sampai dah susah.
This meeting, you asked me to review.
Tak, this meeting dengan lu. Kesian nak kata ini yang lain.
I bring all the materials to you. And so you share the
Sorry, this is the suggestion.
This is what I want, so.
There's a which is used box. And
Something like
it's a square. So as an
because I go about looking for financial support. Bring up my concerns and somebody to help what and we try the agenda can yes.
Okay, are we there? Everybody is together now. Kita dah banyak tempat.
dia buka apa, dia jadi lambat. Dia berlakon. Natural. Jadi kelas dia berlakon. Ni sampai disediakan.
Sampai ditentukan tu.
Okay, another minute. Okay.
Some short. I think that's very
Censor of attention. Just wait the adjustment. So you want to do the positive but negative.
bad story.
First,
We always
You said the best for last.
Okay, we start with
Ikram.
Roxy first, okay? Okay, let's welcome Dr. Ikram's team, Miss Talib and
Saya director.
Aishwarya, yeah? So can I know who is acting as the supervisor and who's acting as the
Dr. Lee.
student?
The supervisor and student.
Okay, supervisor have a seat down. Student, have a seat down.
3, 2, 1. Saya director.
So Talib is also the director.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can go outside.
Who's that?
Nampak?
Wow.
Oh, I know.
Narrator. Coordinator. Okay.
Ini. Ikram sih.
Okay. Start.
Knock.
Talk.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hi, Emily. I thought we meeting 30 minutes later. Why come so early?
I gave you a picture because what have you had time?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. So, okay.
Yeah.
What you want to discuss?
Okay, so this is what I have. I got all of my materials.
Okay.
I've done my literature review, and I just need your assistance to help check me the validity of the resources. If the resource that I'm using is good enough, if it addresses the topic, whatsoever.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Wow, so lot. Okay, this one I think your resources is very easy, very useful, and you do a lot beyond my expectation.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So we'll continue. After this, we'll discuss about what to do next. Okay.
So, okay, the next thing is that, when I think of doing this research, conducting this research later, I think I need some financial support and I have no idea how to go about looking for financial resources. So what will your advice be?
Emily.
Yes.
Why are you so worried about the financial?
Should I not be?
Yes, you should not. Where you want to go?
I actually want to do some site visits, and I'm also thinking of going for a seminar actually on good report writing, strengthen my skills, and I need financial support for that. These things are very expensive. They need a lot.
Just tell me how much. Yeah, I will support because this one, you see, you purpose of going to the place that you want to strengthen your skill and so on. So it's a very good, and I have a research grant, lots about millions. I will support you every each of the conference.
So what are the procedures for applying for?
No need, just give me the. I will go and talk to the coordinator.
Yes. Okay, all right. So, pertaining to what we discussed in the previous meeting, I've already done what you asked me to do. I went through my introduction. I went through to check if there's any spelling errors or whatsoever. So I've done that. So just to show you updates on that.
I think if you behave your behavior like this, you will regret fast.
Okay, forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so when you want to see me again?
I need time, I think, another month, maybe in next next month.
Okay.
So I'll come and see you there. And
All right.
and discuss the next progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you later.
Okay, see you.
Encourage. Oh. Oh. Sweat it.
Steve, hello everybody. For those participants that are joining us online, we have already witnessed a role play by group under Dr. Ikram. So I would like to check your inputs, whether the students and the supervisor relationship, is it healthy? Okay, and is it appropriate? Okay, you know, the supervisor, he is so supportive. He said that he has millions of grants he can do. He can sponsor students to overseas conference for one undergraduate. Wow, it can't to be a student. Okay, so for participants that are joining us online, I hope that you can pen down a few comments. Okay, to comment on, to identify some positive behaviors demonstrated by the students. Okay, the student is very good. Okay, she keeping prepared for meetings and things like that, and she even very ambitious. Okay, she wants to present her work elsewhere. Okay, in overseas conference. Okay, apart from students, maybe you all also can comment on the response by the supervisor. Okay, Dr. Ikram, whether his response is appropriate or not. Okay, how the way he handle good students, is it okay? Okay, or is it not okay? So you can type anything. Okay, there is no right, no wrong in terms of supervision. Okay, we just have the general guidelines because things can be negative and things can be positive depending on the students that you are supervising. Okay, I hope that you all do pen something down in Teams so that we can have one encouraging discussion.
If anyone want to like just open your mic and talk to us,
Yes.
you can talk or give your comments, feedbacks on the role play activity for the first scenario just now. Anyone?
So, Mr. Inasi, I think it's good for supervisor to acknowledge how the student even progress is small. That's another one comment.
Good for what?
Good to acknowledge the students'
Even progress.
achievement, even though it's very small.
Yes. We need to tell them that, okay, we are doing fine, it's good. Okay, somehow whether the progress is a little bit or a lot, we need to give this kind of encouragement, okay, from time to time. Okay, that's good. Okay, any other inputs from the audience?
But I think, because I know this is a role play, but sometimes, in my opinion, that sometimes the supervisor, when they are trying to give some promises to the students, in terms of income, I know it's just acting, but I'm not only talking about money. I'm talking about sometimes when your supervisor, when your student, especially good student comes and they are searching for something, yeah, either ideas or maybe budget or other things. And sometimes supervisor, they are really giving a very high promises. Okay. Because sometimes when we know they are good students and we try to promise them everything that we can give in order for them to get high marks. But sometimes if we make too high promises and we also cannot deliver, the students will become very demanding.
Yes, I totally agree on that. So perhaps maybe before you make a promise to a student, you need to do some evaluation first, whether it is doable or not. Okay, like for example, the instance just now, maybe the student is asking for 5,000 K to go overseas. We don't promise on the spot first lah. Okay, we need to do some homework first. Whether this 5,000 you can take from somewhere, you can take from the supervisor fund. If the supervisor has 100% say on his fund, you're perfectly fine. They just go. Okay, if this 5K need to be sourced from somewhere, that need approval, things like that. So we need to be very careful in terms of monitoring. Okay. When it comes to budget, it is very sensitive. We need to be very careful. Okay, do not upfront promise the student, I can sponsor you go Thailand. After present, you go shopping. Okay, don't make this kind of promise like it's very sensitive. So if you promise in the end we cannot deliver, it looks bad on us.
There's another comment online by Johan Lim. He said that I think the supervisor was good by being supportive and encouraging, but should have guided the student through the process instead of doing it for them.
Yes, yes, it's a very good comment. Later I will cover it in my session where supervisors cannot always spoon feed the students. We need to make students to think and to act and to solve a problem by themselves. That is our supervisor's role. I will cover it in my session later. Any other comments? If no, any other comments?
No from online.
Okay, so let's move on to our negative role.
I'll go Selena.
Okay, our next scenario. Okay, the challenging final year project students. And let's welcome Miss Salina and Miss Faridato. All right, so this is the challenging final year project students.
So also need ketuk pintu.
Morning, Mata. Morning. Yes. What are you here today?
I want to see you regarding my project.
What's your topic?
My topic, I cannot remember the exact titles, but I think it is surrounding the social dilemma among our teenagers nowadays.
But your topic is really general. Can you be more specific? Like what issues are you specifically looking into?
Well, I'm not sure. That's why I'm here. I think you can guide me on that, Doctor.
Okay, yes, yes. So for starters, you do need to read.
Read.
Yes, you do need to read. Otherwise, you won't find your problem, your issue that you must do.
Okay.
I would suggest you start reading, because we're doing a topic on social issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest that you would look into reading newspapers.
Newspaper. We don't read newspaper anymore, Doctor, nowadays.
You should start reading.
Where can I get the sources, Doctor?
You think?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, you can tell me.
All right, you might want to go online.
Okay.
Search. You do.
Yes, but what sites should I go? I just go TikTok and Instagram nowadays.
Okay, so you might want to start with your State Times and start studying
What's that?
newspapers.
Oh, newspaper. Okay, okay. I thought it was some sort of house or something.
And this is already week 5. This was at least 6 topic. So,
But I was thinking that maybe you can guide me on that. You know, like what is the scope of my studies and all.
perhaps we can read words and then it's
How many articles I need to read?
maybe you can start off with 5.
5? It's a lot. I need read one article to read. Do you have any articles that you can print out for me?
It's very different. It's
Okay. Mm-hmm. How do I know whether my articles is correct or not?
find the article that we again, if you want to find a topic that is relevant to different issues now, it should be like 5 years.
Oh, I can use ChatGPT.
So when can I
See me
the next time we
or the next time.
pick?
When you're free.
Can I see you next week?
Oh, next week I cannot. I have family vacation.
This is already been 5 years.
Can I see you in 3 weeks?
Can we meet in between? 1 week and a half?
2 weeks. 2 weeks time.
Weeks and a half? What day?
Friday.
Actually, timing.
Okay. Oh, okay. You can give me the address. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Maybe you can WhatsApp me, but I don't bring any papers with me.
Alright.
So do you want me to, what do you want me to bring in the 2 weeks time?
You need to have your topic and also show me what you have read.
Show you what I have read. Yes. Just bring the paper to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to summarize it.
Read and summarize. That's 2 words. Can I just do read first? Then in the 2 weeks, I only do the summary. Oh. Okay. I'll try, but I cannot promise you anything. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, see you. 1.5 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Okay then. See you then. Bye-bye.
What's student was
It looks like we have quite many of potential Oscar winner from UW. Yeah, Oscar winner. Okay, the same goes to scenario number 2. Okay, I would like to get some response on students' behavior and also how the supervisor is responding to this kind of problematic, not problematic. This kind of situation where students is, you talk A, he gives you B, hey, you want in 1 week, he will tell you he will deliver in 3 weeks. See, this kind of students. Okay, I hope that you can actually pen down some comments. So if not, you can on your microphone, okay, and we share. Okay, we do some sharing. Okay, what is the behavior that student have and how does the supervisor respond to this kind of behavior? Is it appropriate? Is the supervisor is very accommodating to the request that is put in by the student? Is it appropriate or the supervisor should be constant? Okay.
What did you say? She didn't say that. Oh my God. Fail the students.
Yes. Repeat.
Repeat.
Cannot graduate.
Okay, do let us know your thoughts. There is no right, no wrong.
Yeah, there's someone who is I say that I think sometimes we need to restrict to students if they are having a difficult problem.
Okay, I find it appropriate. So sometimes like students with very demanding students, okay, you want something that in 2 weeks time, it is too much. He is asking extension for another 2 weeks. I think this is too much. It will actually affect the progress. Okay, supervisor, maybe you need to be very stern, okay, towards this kind of students. Okay, if you are very accommodating, okay lah, after 2 weeks we meet again. Okay, after 1 month we meet again. I think it is later the student one, instead of the supervisor giving instruction, it is the other way around later. Okay. Yeah, of course, I will need to give good comments to scenario number 2 supervisor. I do find her very patient. Yeah, yeah, she is a very patient supervisor. She didn't lose her temper. Okay, some of us, we really lose our temper when we are encountering this kind of student. Okay, for students on scenario number 2, very obvious. We do find her a little bit rude. Okay, not following. Okay. Yeah, very demanding. Okay, very demanding for scenario number 2. Okay, she is not prepared. Basically, when supervisor asks her to read newspaper, the star is thinking about some other stars. Yeah. Okay, she's thinking about superstars. Okay, thank you very much to these 2 groups. I do find you all very awesome, very supportive, and
We gonna give y'all a little bit of snacks.
okay, yeah, to all the potential Oscar winners. Okay, chupa chups. Yeah, lollipop, chupa chups.
Those who are hungry, yes, peanut butter too.
Huh?
Can I call it the please? Can I have the Right, so I would like to continue with the second session of this workshop. So for this second session will be supervision techniques and responsibilities. All right, so this will be the content of my presentation today. So I will highlight some of the responsibilities of supervisors, which some has been highlighted by Dr. Tan earlier. So we'll just go through fast. And what is the supervisor's challenge? So as the 2 supervisors here just now who acted the role plays, you have a very, very good patient supervisor. At the same time, we had a very, very spoon feeding supervisor. I mean, he's too good. Whatever the supervisor asks is okay, go. So we would like to highlight or share our experience on whether this supervision techniques is correct or wrong. But it's very, very subjective. It depends on the situation. It depends on the students. It depends on what are the constraints in that scenario or in that situation. Of course, I will also touch about on the fair and objective evaluations. How do we evaluate your students' work without biasness, right? And then how to mitigate bias in supervision. Sometimes we have 2 students. One student you like a lot, so you try to spoon feed or you try to encourage them. But another student have some issues with you don't like. So this type of situation, as a supervisor, we need to be professional. We need to make sure we have certain ethics to follow and use as a framework so that there will be an efficient supervision. Okay, then I'll conclude. All right. So the first thing, what is the role of a project supervisor? What is the role of a project supervisor? Anyone?
Supervise.
Supervise. Number? Guide.
Monitor is, monitor.
Help. Monitor.
Assess.
Assess.
Agree.
All that. As a girl.
KPI.
Anyone from online? What is the role of supervisor? Anyone? No. Okay, so if you guys see here,
Someone online said motivator.
motivator, okay, facilitator, mentor, project advisor, academic guide, pastoral supporter, quality assurer. So all these are characteristic or roles of a supervisor. If you ask me personally felt supervisor is actually the GPS of the student, the student is thrown into an ocean, which is their final year project. The ocean, the student need to sail the boat to reach the destination. But someone needs to show them how to go, where to go, whether they are going on the right direction or not. So that's where supervisor, we act as a GPS. Without the GPS, we don't know whether the student is achieving the target, achieving the results, the outcome of the research project. So that's why I say we as supervisor is the GPS of the whole project, the GPS for the student. The student need to use us. If the student don't use us, they cannot complete the project because they don't know whether they are doing it in a right way or in a wrong way. So we are the GPS. Okay, so what is the key responsibilities of a project supervisor? What are the key objectives of a project supervisor? So look here, this is your student. Your student is running. There's a lot of hurdles here. So as a supervisor, when you supervise, I'm sure all of us have supervised. Some of you all have even supervised more years, have more experience than me myself. So you have encountered a lot of students under your supervision where they found or they encounter a lot of hurdles, obstacles. So what do you do as a supervisor? Nice. So basically, the supervisor, when your students come to see you, to meet you, I have a problem. Okay, of course, the supervisor cannot remove the obstacle, cannot remove the hurdle here, but the supervisor can give you some sort of knowledge, guidance to help you to jump over, or like what Miss Salina said just now, to walk under the obstacles. So that is supervision. All right. Next, this picture here. If I am not good to myself, how can I expect anyone else to be good to me? This is said by Maya Angelou. For example, you are the subject matter expert. But if you're under your supervision, whether it's FYP or whether it's postgraduate, your postgraduate students will be the subject matter expert. Your role is a supervisor. Sometimes it's a learning process. If you want your student to do something or to learn new topic, it should start within you first. You should learn it together with your student. You cannot say, you go and learn yourself. I don't care how you do it, you just go and do. I want to see the result. That is not a good supervision responsibility or techniques. You have to start within you. If you want your student to follow your guidelines or to follow what are the steps to achieve the project outcome, then you need to be responsible to give them whatever necessary, and you should know what you are mentoring about. This picture here, I'm coordinating 5 different R&D projects, but sure, I can spare a minute. Supervisors, no matter how busy we are, if the student is committed, if the student wants to learn, somehow we should find a way to mentor or to meet your student to see what is their problem. That is another role of a supervisor. We should make our time. We cannot say, I'm busy, you come and see me later, and the later will never come. All of us are very busy, but as a supervisor, you should have this responsibility. And this should be also taken account by the student. It's like a win-win situation. So if the student don't care, the supervisor is too busy, you don't care. But if the student always come, give, the supervisor should spend a little bit of time. Next, this comic here. I made a few tweaks to the draft papers you sent to me. This is by the supervisor. But the student said, once he submitted a draft, he said, you rewrote the entire thing. Sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes, students' work is full of nonsense or whatever, not readable. So you rewrote the entire thing. Then the supervisor mentioned, yes, it's easier for me to rewrite it rather than to point out all the things you did is wrong. I call it learning by demonstration. But then, when it comes to the student, what are we demonstrating here? That you are the supervisor mentioned that you are a bank. So is this a good project supervisor? Why? Why?
Because you shouldn't have removed the should let the student stuff.
Yes. That side? Anyone?
We are not teaching them to be drinking, so they don't want to do.
Exactly. We need to teach them what is right, what is wrong. We cannot do the work for them. We can only guide them. This is responsive, the certain limit of a supervisor. You need to make sure that you don't demotivate them by degrading themselves, degrading their work. Yes, maybe this is the first draft, but thinking of my experience, Dr. Ikram's experience with our supervisor, our draft became like 5 to 10 drafts before the final draft. So that's how our supervisor improved our work. He didn't rewrite the whole thing, but every time we go, we'll come up with red colored pen everywhere. And then we go again, red colored pen everywhere. But at the end of the day, the supervisor has cultivated the writing skills to the student. This is very important. We don't do the work for them, but we guide them, we teach them. Okay, types of supervisor. So just now we have 2 types of supervisor. One very, very good supervisor. One, too good supervisor who gives everything. So what type of supervisor are you? And how you think you will be in future? Yes. What type of supervisor you think you'll be? What type of supervisor are you? Yes.
I'm very sarcastic.
Sarcastic supervisor.
I would be like after type supervisor, I just jump up my student in the water. Then you go swim until you really, really drowning, then only I'm going to see you.
Okay. Very, very dangerous.
Like you the dreams.
Supportive supervisor.
Follow the swimmer time.
Swimmer type.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Okay. Khalid?
I think if I don't have a chance to score in the student picture, I think I'll be a supportive supervisor because it will bring me back to the days that where I was as a student. I'm not a check, so I was still have
What is this? Dr. Ikram?
As
As demonstrated.
That is very interesting. Oh, I know.
Sponsorship email.
Are you?
Oh, I don't know. That's it. So,
So, okay, no. Swimmers, right?
Swimmers.
Okay.
Really drown, then we save.
So Dr. Tan and Miss Salina here, they said they will throw the students in the river, in the ocean first, until they really can't swim, then only they will help. So they actually help, they actually guide, but they let the student experience the hurdles, the obstacles first. Okay, anyone from online? Yes?
My justification is because we applied GPS. You tak tekan GPS, then what for we auto dedicate for you.
So that is the student's role. So this is actually a win-win mutual understanding between the supervisor and the students. If the students don't care, or don't know they even have a supervisor, then the supervisor will not be activated. As what you mentioned, Doctor Koo mentioned, it's not been activated. So we cannot do our duty. You don't come find the supervisor, the students don't come find the supervisor, how are we going to help? So there's another one dilemma, later I will share my experience. If you don't come and see your supervisor cannot do anything. We can't help you. Right. Anyone from the online participants? Colleagues from online?
I have a question. So one of it is how to verify that the project actually is in accordance with the standards as determined by the Air Force Navy.
This is first session.
Secondly, how to choose the right person to evaluate the project target. How to choose the right person.
Okay, to answer the question posted by Mr. Mason, of course, we have to follow EAC guidelines. EAC, we have guidelines for FYP supervision. So your FYP project must meet the criteria set by this EAC standards, where you have your FYP must be complex. So if you refer back to the complex problem solving, we need to check at least 3. Your WP1 all the way until WP8. Okay, all these WP we must check at least 3 of this WP. Then only we consider your particular project is complex. So we do not want a project that is not so complex, which only covering one domain in engineering, where students can just quickly solve or settle that project. So this is the first thing we normally check. So for instance, okay, I remember there is one column under this WP, whether your project is it governed by certain standards. Okay, for example, if like engineering telecommunication, we have all these IEC standards. The same goes to power engineering. We have all these standards that we need to follow. Okay, this is the first criteria. Okay, we look for complex problem solving projects. Okay, then the okay, for project title evaluation and approval, we do have a committee to vet through all the approvals given by lecturers. So if there is some areas that we need clarification, of course, you do see me as a few years ago project coordinator. I do come to you, okay, what do you mean by this kind of thing? So we do clarify, okay, we bring back to the committee again for second round of discussion, whether we want to approve this title to be released to the students or not. So when it comes to FYP selection and approval, we have a committee to look at your project. So this committee, we have members from EE, mechanical, and mechatronics to vet through your proposals. Okay.
Anything else online? Okay, let's continue back to the types of supervisor. So based on the finding, we have direct supervision. All right, direct supervision meaning the supervisor knows everything of your project, so he directly supervises you. Then we have indirect supervision. Look at the diagram there. You indirectly supervise that person. All right. Is it a co-supervisor or no? It's not co. It's like You will help them, but you will not tell them that you are helping them. Okay, so that is indirect supervision. And then we have bureaucratic, we have autocratic, we have laissez-faire, and we have democratic. So bureaucratic means that you adjust your supervision skill according to who you are supervising. If the student is a very smart student, a very good student, like Aish just now, right? So you will change the way that you supervise. So he needs minimal guidance. He can do work like that. So that's bureaucracy. If the student is very weak, he needs more time, more motivation, then you have to suit like PJ Masks like that. You have to change your suits according to the student. Next, we have autocratic. Okay, autocratic means I want you to do this. That kind of supervision. Okay, colleague, I want you to come up with paper in 3 days time. So that is autocratic. That means I don't want to hear students' point of view. I want this to be done this way. That is that kind of person. Laissez-faire. Okay, look at this guy there, nicely putting the leg on top and sitting watching sun. Meaning that you don't care. You don't care of the student at all. You just ignore them, throw them, let your students go and do whatever. I'm supervisor for the sake of supervisor, right? So I just don't care. I just relax and sit down, not even giving the hand a snap. Right? So that is laissez-faire. This type of supervision, he just let the students to decide. The decision making doesn't come from him or they don't do it together, but he just let the student to decide. This methodology, okay, you want to use this methodology, you do. You want to do this experiment here, you do. He just don't care. Okay, so this is laissez-faire and democratic, meaning you make sure that you are not biased. You take care of everyone equally and so on. So these are all the types of supervisors. So now let's come back to the question. Which type of supervisor do you think we fall in?
Maintain mental health, I think I'm just.
Okay, how about this group? Yeah.
So.
Actually, it's a good thing because a lot of people having mental health. I'll share my experience. If I go in that category, then I will not go. I will not have gone through that kind of mental depression. No one that answer.
Depends on student. If this kind of students, then we want this kind of role, if this kind of student comes in.
Yes. Okay, so it depends on the student. All right, so what are the responsibilities of a project supervisor? Definitely there's 3 main things. You need to mentor, you need to monitor, you need to give feedback. So as a mentor, as a guide, right, you need to offer academic and professional advice. I think just now Dr. Tan already mentioned. You need to have certain engagement with the student, a good engagement so that you can advise, you can motivate, you can you can talk to them. So when there is a certain engagement between the supervisor and between the student, there will be a smooth flow. The GPS just now I mentioned will not sangkut, hang here, hang there, no line here, no line there. It will have a smooth sailing process. So help students set goals. Students are very ambitious. They like to bring the moon come to the land. They are very, very ambitious. But we as a supervisor, we have some experience on whether the project can be executed or not. So with this experience, with this subject matter knowledge that we know, we can advise the student to set the goals accordingly within the time frame. So during the proposal submission, like what Dr. Tan mentioned just now, the supervisor needs to play a big role to identify how the problem statement, how the objective, and how the scope of the research project will go on. So this is very, very important as the supervisor. Next, you need to foster independent thinking. Okay, we need to cultivate students to make sure they can think and execute the project themselves. We can guide them at the beginning, but they have to execute the project. For example, the budget just now, right? The student said the student wants to go for the site visit. So the supervisor said, oh, you can go, I have the budget for that. Yes, it's a good encouragement because it encourages the student to go. At the same time, the supervisor maybe need to add something. Okay, you have to do this, you have to achieve this, you have to achieve this, you have to decide that in order to make sure that site visit is worth the money spent. So this is something that you as a supervisor, you need to keep mentoring. This is an ongoing process, ongoing journey throughout the supervision timeline. It's not like at the first, I meet you, I set everything ready, then I jump out you inside the water. You have to make sure and you have to go and monitor them. This is another important role of a supervisor. We need to keep monitoring them. Yes, you already set goal, everything is going on perfect. But whether they are keeping track with their milestone, project milestone, whether they are diverting, we need to pull them back. It's just like playing a kite. Your student is the kite, you, the supervisor, is the one holding the string. You need to let them fly, let them explore things. But when they are moving far away, they are flying far away, you need to pull them back to align with the project scope. So this is a very, very important technique, and provide constructive feedback. So whatever they come and see you, meet you, you need to give a constructive feedback to encourage them so that they always will be motivated. Okay, nowadays students, they very fast get demotivated. We as a supervisor, we need to make sure they have the spark in the research. We need to always pull back them in and keep motivating them to pursue. Okay, research, any project that you are doing, is not going to be a smooth journey. There will be a problem where at that problem, the student will be at the, end point. They don't know what to do. And when they don't know what to do, they give up. When they give up, they just throw away the project and don't going to see back again. That's when the supervisor have to come into the picture. They need to bring up the negative thing from the student and work together on how to solve the problem. It's not the supervisor giving you the solution, but the supervisor is helping you, and together they will come up with a solution. So the monitoring is very important, and feedback. Offer timely and specific feedback. Highlight areas of improvement and encourage continuous learning. So this is already also covered by Dr. Tan just now. So all the feedbacks, let's say proposal, your student come and meet you, you have to give feedback. If you take 1 year to give feedback or 2 months to give the feedback, it's not going to help the student. It's not going to help to come up with a quality research project. So this is the main key responsibilities of a project supervisor. You need to mentor, you need to monitor, and you need to feedback. So what are the best practices for supervising students? First, at the start, when you have identified your student, supervisor, okay, both of y'all, you know your role, you need to define the roles, you need to set standards, clear project roadmap. Okay, so you have to sit with your student, as a supervisor, for your student, and at the first meeting itself, tell out your expectation, describe your expectation, set the goal, okay? This is what the project is about, and you should achieve at the final age. I think Dr. Tan also covered this just now. At the final project completion, you need to come out with this output. So if you have a clear direction, clear roadmap, students know, okay, this is what needs to be done. The student will work towards it. And make sure you don't only just tell, you need to have regular check-ins. It's like you have to keep, I'll say, keep knocking your students, keep like touch and go your students. Schedule a consistent one and on meetings. I think just now Dr. Tan mentioned 2 weeks once. So this is a very subjective matter. It depends how you are planning your supervision role. I like to see my students once a week for my postgraduate. Okay, for final year project students also, I like to meet once a week, because if I give them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if I don't schedule any meeting, that's it. They will put aside this final year project and they will do other work. So if you have a regular meet-up, consistent meetings, students will work towards it. And at the end, the project will be completed and it still reflect back to your KPI as your supervisor. So the best thing is when you see your student graduate, finish the project as a supervisor. I think that is the best satisfaction that you will get. So when you have a scheduled, consistent one-to-one, it's not a group meeting, because not all students will share everything in a group because they feel embarrassed. Sometimes they have problem, and then you have like 4 or 5 supervision workshops. They are shy to tell you what's the problem. So you have to make sure that you have a one-to-one session as well. So maybe if you have a lot of students, maybe you can have one on like together, and then a second round you can ask those who want to talk to me. I want to see you personally. Then that's when you will know so many problems that students have. So you make sure that you can address the issues and track progress. We as a supervisor, we are responsible to track our students' progress. If the students are not complying to the milestone that they have planned, we as the supervisor, our duty is to make sure that to go and talk to the students, to tell them this is not right, you are behind schedule, please move. You have to keep driving them. Okay, you have to keep moving them. It's like, in GPS that I mentioned, the recalculating. So when it's diverted, or when you go start somewhere, the GPS job is to recalculate you back and come back to the direction. So this is our role. Next is provide resources. We as a supervisor, especially for final year undergraduate students, we are responsible to provide resources. It's not spoon feeding them, but the way we come up with a title, the way we structured, some of us are having grants, right? So our project for final year project is based on the grants. So the grant will have certain objective that needs to be complied. But you need to be reasonable. It's so totally unfair to come up with a title that students or we don't have the resources or the equipment here in our campus to do it. That is totally unfair to just go through one topic to the students. You're going to find your own experiment, you're going to find your own equipment. I got no money, you only got that 500 allocation, you go and sort it out. That is totally not fair for the students. We as a supervisor, we should provide resources. We can share relevant literature. Okay, we need to make sure the students know where to find the literature. It's not we printing out the journal paper and giving to them, but we are showing them where can you find the journal, what platform can you use. This is supervisor's job. We have to show them the way. Connect students with experts. Not all research topic the supervisor is aware, right? So we as a supervisor, if you think that specific project or specific characterization testing is not in your field, you should find someone expert to come in. This when the school organizers research seminars where we call in the professionals to come in and brief you. So we have to connect with the experts. For example, let's say my students don't know how to do this characterization test. So even me as a supervisor, I also don't know. So I cannot just leave them and you will study yourself. No. But as a good supervisor, what a supervisor need to do is, okay, this is not within your scope, but it's important for the project. So maybe I need to find some expert to come and teach you, or you send your students for training. This should be done within the supervisor's scope. Ensure access necessary resources. As I mentioned, if your project scope is within this campus, make sure all the necessary resources are available. If not, at the initial stage, you have to tell your students to tone down. We cannot get this. It's too expensive. Can you find another alternative method to do this testing, for example? Right? So these are the best practices for supervising students. Okay, supervisor's challenge. Okay. This is a very big thing. Okay. What is a supervisor's challenge? First, we address problematic students. Not all of us are blessed with good students. Sometimes we need to encounter these problematic students. How do we tackle these problematic students? Just now, we had this Miss Salina here acting as a problematic student. Students, they don't care. Some students, they just have some ignoring behavior. I don't care lah, I don't want to do lah, I have this thing lah, that one lah, and some are very rude. They don't know how to respect their mentor or like their supervisor. They think the supervisor don't know anything. Why must I see my supervisor? She doesn't know anything. I rather go and see other people. How do you deal with this kind of situation? How do you address the problematic students? I will open to the floor. The lecture is most serious. Right, oh my God. Anyone from colleagues from the online platform, have you all encountered any problematic student and how did you all tackle that situation? Come on. Supervisor has his own problems. So that one is the problematic supervisor lah. That one will be under coordinator. Yeah, you didn't touch the. That's important.
Nisha,
Yes.
when supervisor encounter
okay.
problem, they will send all to program leader. Program leader cannot settle, send to ADH. This is the solution.
Sound familiar. I think
Practical.
Follow SOP
Yeah, SP. Dr. Go, I understand your dilemma. Another scope.
I talked to Hadi, I talked to this few, I also got headache, no.
So if the PM gets headache, the ADH gets headache, just imagine how much headache the supervisor encountered. Okay, so to address these problematic students, right, first of all, we need to identify why there is this disengagement. Like for example, I have student is Hadi, Gad, Shogun, okay. All these are for me, my personal experience. I'm sure that Dr. Tan have encountered a lot, Miss Sadinaya, they've encountered so many other people. So the one that I've encountered in the past few years, one student is having some mental health issue. Don't know what is his problem. He just cannot connect with FYP. Another student, all subject okay, but when come to final year project, right, he just giving up because it's an individual work. It's not a group work where he can, write through a long. Another student, he just have this problem of communication. So whenever he comes and see his supervisor, he just can't talk. He will shake like this, his hand will be shivering like this. So all these are signs of disengagement. So we, of course, as a supervisor, the first thing that we have to do, we have to address the issue and bring the matter up to the program leaders or ADH or even to the coordinator. Because sometimes if the students don't come and see us, the supervisor don't know what to do, we will go back to the coordinator. The coordinator's job then is to address or locate where is the student and what happened to the student. If the coordinators can't do that, then the issue will go up to the committee. If the committee cannot solve, then the thing will go to the ADH. So then it will be a management issue. So all these are what that we in School of Engineering have done. We have developed a personalized support plans, meaning that we try to tone down the scope of the research project so that different students, like just now, right, the bureaucratic supervision, we try to tone down. If let's say normally we have certain standards to follow, but maybe for that specific student, since he's so scared to communicate, then we need to tone down. Or if the student is scared to communicate to the supervisor, then maybe we can tackle the other way around. We try to get another person which is out of the picture to pass the message so he can execute the project, right? How do we manage difficult situation? It's very hard. Huh? I've been impressed with this mental health with students issue before. We try to utilize this conflict resolution strategy, meaning we avoid, we compete, we accommodate, we compromise, and we collaborate. Sometimes, of course, we always want the students to complete the project. But in some situation where the student needs some additional support, we as an supervisor, we as an academician, we should provide this support until where we can. It's very subjective, huh? Sometimes, personally, I won't agree on this. If the student deserves to fail, he deserves to fail. Why must we help him? But of course, when it comes to a certain system, a university system, this cannot be done. So it has to go through certain regulations, certain process for the students to graduate, and also to help the students to identify what is the weakness there and try to support him at that weakness point, right? Ensuring student progress. Of course, we need to implement intervention strategy. Okay, motivate. You have to keep motivating them. I have a student. Previously, actually, is my colleague student. In final year project 1, he failed. He doesn't do anything. During his presentation, proposal progress presentation, he knows 0. But we managed to talk to him. We managed to motivate him. And it was a 360-degree switch. When we come to FYP2, he managed to complete everything. He understands what he's doing. And that's where I say the supervisor came into the picture. Okay, you as a supervisor, if you think your student needs help, you need to act, you need to do whatever you can to help the student. But whether the student is taking your advice or not taking your advice, that is a secondary thing. But your duty, your role, you need to help. Like what I mentioned, like what previously I mentioned. If the student don't come and see us, we can't help. We can't help. We can't do anything. But if the student come and see us and he have a problem, we as a supervisor need to do whatever intervention that we can do to make sure he achieve the target. Okay, so before we go to the evaluation part, I have one activity for y'all. So let's do some activity before we stop. Yes. Okay, what's the some activity? Yeah, it's 5 minutes. Okay. So you will be given 2 tracks, right? Divide into 2 groups. The group just now, group 1 and group 2 there. All right, and also those online. I will pass you the document in a while. Assess each abstract by using the rubric given. Highlight or note down specific sentence or phrases in the abstract that correspond to the criteria of the rubric. Assign the score 0 to 5. Share your group evaluation and discuss. Okay, let's start. This is given to you. Sometimes look.
Dr. Ko wants soft copy. No homework, no homework, yeah.
Impact of certification. Wow.
Not by subject, is it? Okay, next simple item. So.
One good objective. But if I didn't really.
It was so small now. Sticky this whole lady cannot read the street.
It's a project.
It's always. So.
Teaching for reading. Yes, study.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
Really need to request a copy because the limit too small.
Lima. They present something. Information. English means. English means. Macam buat masalah besar. Just some of this. But we cakap bahan tidak dapat ditutup depan. Biar sebab semua dah. Kita sebab sudah kita terkena. Kali bapak ni plan jam. Accident. Agak kesusahan. Saya ni waktu dah hari aku ada accident. Kau boleh res 8 satu. Yang dah sebab tu nak makan ni. Masuklah ke sini depan so. Jangan ni. Sampai selain kena. Sebenarnya sebab sikit pula. Bukan cerita.
Polis, untuk tanya lah, praktis lah, terus.
Ya, three, banyak kelas dia. Yang ketiga lagi jam. Ini jam lah. Itu lain. Kita tengah buat notification ada accident. Kita sampai. Kenapa dia berbuat? Berminit. So tak fikir lagi. Sembilan dua. Berapa aku macam
So, what do you
Kalau setengah jam tu dia rotate. Yeah. Questions are online. That's okay.
But let me get it. Let me feel actually a complete. And I do definitely not. If I go something to.
See, you don't say, you don't want to, you don't experience. Yeah, you Okay, I know that. Can we discuss? Okay, there was two abstracts given, right? So one is given to you all, also in online. So what is your comment, feedback? Just the marks first. For the first abstract, how much y'all think y'all will give based on your evaluation?
4.9.
4.9. Okay, how about the other group?
5.
5.
No idea.
Okay.
Okay, the first abstract, right? I think the data is missing.
That's it.
I mean, meaning to say the numbers, the data, how many percent. So,
But if the research got no data,
the findings,
if the research doesn't require any data,
no, but then some analytical disease and all that.
analysis.
I think it should be because
Okay, what is the criteria? What is the phrases that correspond to the rubric that you all give 4.9 and 5? And that learning. Macam exit.
macam exam lah.
This is my opinion lah. We are people get that people. But usually my abstract is supposed to be the summary of the project. So usually the abstract should have an answer for that. What is the project? Why the project? How? And of course the findings lah. Okay. So for me, if these questions are answered in the abstract itself, then it should get a very, very high marks. Okay? And you can see that in the first abstract, they have like the primary aim is to blah, blah, blah. So okay, this is the project, what the project wants to do, okay? And using a comprehensive research strategy, includes control, experiment, and field. So this we know this is how they carry out the project, yeah. And then of course they have the outcome. The results indicate that even slight deviation in soil pH can significantly affect plant growth. I know what Ms. Khalid goes to
Significantly, tapi dia tak cakap significantly apa significant analysis that they use.
I think I can relate to Ms. Khalid, meaning like maybe she was looking for like, okay, so it by how many percent changes of pH, or by how many points, maybe by as low as 0.1 pH, it already
Significant based on that.
I mean, because I know, because Ms. Khalid is like that's
So I'm looking for numbers.
right. That's why numbers are important to her. Yeah, but for me, because it's indicate, yeah, the results indicate what is the output of the project. For me, I can accept that. Okay? And then they have a conclusion, and also at the end they say that the study not only underscore the importance of soil, blah, blah, blah. So this is also helping in terms of why we need to do this. Okay? That's why we report on that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. How about the other group? Any other additional info?
I think, yeah, that's why like the result, because they say the result indicates that even slight deviation is not as significant, but the result is not being, their findings is not being really posted there properly. Like what, as I said, there's some significant, if significant, berapa value dia, then berapa you punya results. The result findings is this, it is 0.9, and then on that. Okay, as compared to significant value that is given, is normally is there. So, there is no indicator to really prove that, this finding has these results. The analysis are basically the analysis part.
Okay, agree? So from here, right, the better abstract, how much you all get? You all say 5, right? 5.
No.
You all say 4.9. 4.
Yeah,
4, 5. So this is very subjective. So that's why we need to make sure that we are fair and have a proper objective-based evaluation. So even this simple exercise, there's a lot of comments. Okay, some supervisor or some examiner, all our supervisors are going to be examiners, they think that this one don't have this. This one lacking of this. But supervisor A gave 4.9 because according to her, the abstract have all these criteria. But supervisor B just now, she said, no, it's lacking of this data. So how do we solve this problem? So here, we need to make sure that we develop a comprehensive assessment rubrics. So in this case, this rubric plays a big role. We have to mark according to the rubric. Of course, we have a brief of idea. For example, problem abstract. Abstract, it needs objectives, methodology, the highlights of research finding, what's the potential, all that we already know. But there must be a guideline when all the examiners can agree to 1 mark. So this is another way where we will have this review and maintain the transparency of the documents. Right? So it includes to have, for example, in School of Engineering, we have 2 examiners and we have agreed marks for our evaluation. So let's say supervisor A or examiner A, she highlights this with the comment, and when it goes to supervisor examiner B, she have this similar or a little bit of different marks. They both need to sit together, read back the abstract, look back at the rubric, and agree to a mark. So this is very, very important so that we have a very fair evaluation process. Rubric plays a big role. I would say the major contributor. We cannot evaluate or assess someone based on our understanding, feeling, and also our feeling towards the student. That's where comes another one, bias in supervision, which is very, very important, very, very crucial point that I want to highlight in this workshop. You cannot be biased in your supervision. You need to know if, let's say, the student is very close to you, very hardworking, slide back. Okay, let's say there is student A. I give you all a scenario. Student A is very close to you because you have taught student A from diploma, degree, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. You know the student in and out. But the student is very weak in documentation, meaning that he is not able to write a good report. But you think the student is very, very good student, is very humble, honest, and have a very good relationship with the supervisor. Okay, there is another student, student B. Student B is very, very naughty boy, having a bad behavior. Okay, but he's good in documentation. He able to come up with a good report. So we have 2 scenarios here. Scenario A, very good students towards the supervisor. This student, not very good terms with the supervisor. Now the supervisor needs to evaluate both these students. How the supervisor will evaluate? Evaluate the student's report. Sorry. So here it goes back. there will be, it's very subjective, you know, when you are marking the report, definitely in your mind, you will picture the student. The student comes to your mind, and then all other issues will relate. And this is a behavioral, social, human issue where it will eventually influence yourself to give a low mark for that specific student. But for the other student, how terrible he wrote the report also, you will somehow try to help him to evaluate. So how are we going to tackle this issue? Anyone? Rubric. Okay. Yes. Okay. First thing, we as a supervisors, we need to remove our emotional attachment during marking. We need to be in clear state of mind. Second, rubric. Rubric plays a big role because when you, of course, will have a few examiners to mark a report, right? If let's say examiner A gives marks very high, examiner B gives mark very low, then they will come to the agreed mark where they will refer back to the rubric. So we should mark according to rubric. Second thing is how to conduct audit, seek feedback, adjust the evaluation methods. So sometimes we cannot evaluate because in a supervision, right? Maybe in future, the supervisor is not supposed to evaluate the students' work. This is my personal opinion. Of course, we don't have the resources to do that due to our team, shortage of staff and all that. If you look at postgraduate or masters, the supervisor's role is to supervise and guide the students. They don't give any marks for us. External examiners or outside a third party examiner will evaluate the student's report. This will remove the biasness of the marking process. This is one more option that we can actually think about. Any other feedback, comments? This is just a sharing session. We are also trying to solve this biasness problem by ourselves. Any feedback? Any sharings?
There's someone online, Dr. Cairo says that how about one student, very hardworking one, do the project from 0 to complete, and another student just chin-chan what project, but good in report. Now AI added them. So is this situation how?
Okay, coming back to this situation, that's why coming back to our evaluation method. Our evaluation method does not carry only 100% marks for the reporting. So there is also mark for prototype, for demo, where the student can outshine in that part. As a good graduate under EAC accreditation or under OBE, they should have all the skills in order to come up with a good project. So if his problem is writing, of course AI is a very big issue right now, but coming back to our procedures, okay, in our how the operation SOPs, whether we like how plagiarism we are going to detect, how the school's policy going to change on this AI. The lecturer will be able to detect. There's a lot of detection tools on AI. If there is AI, so if it is informed beforehand that you cannot use AI or you use AI with certain percentage, then it will be accepted. So the student need to declare, I have used AI to check my grammar or to improve my sentence flow. Yes. So with a certain percentage, I'm sure this policy will be implemented soon, very soon, where students reporting assignments, they need to declare AI. Like how we declare how many percent of plagiarism eternity, we should implement this. This is for future. We have to. So in that case, we can detect AI So we will not evaluate the report based on the AI report. We will minus certain marks because we use AI. Okay, that is coming back to the regular reviews here again. Any other thing?
I think this is just my opinion. I think this is a very common problem because some students they are very good in the project work and sometimes too good and they spend too much time. So at the end of the day, they don't have enough time to write a good report. In the past one, because of course now you have the AI option. That's why usually like you only have like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to write, then just jump out to AI and get to report. But sometimes this is a problem, I think, because students they concentrate on the work, then they forget to put in the report.
Yes.
But I think for engineering especially, we have to stress out because when you go out, sometimes customers or clients or stakeholders, they will read everything is in documents. They don't really go to site and see your work. You know, they just basically depends on your report. So I think that's also what we have to stress.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree with Ms. Salina. Of course, we need to highlight that we are not only producing hands-on graduates, we need to produce a round-ended graduates which can also good in practical skills and writing skills. And it comes back to the role of supervisor again. Supervisor, as we mentioned just now, right? We have regular checks, right? Regular meetups. So supervisor's role here is to highlight the importance of writing documentation using AI or whether using AI to support or using totally app. All these actually the supervisor should brief and mentor the student so that last minute the student will not come up with a report. It's supposed to go through the supervisor, so check the report first before the submission. The supervisor, the students, the procedure, right? The students come up with a draft. The draft should be checked by the supervisor, should be checked by the co-supervisor. Any improvement, go back, and then the student do the correction, comes to the supervisor again. Okay, ready to submit, and then you submit. But now, there is a gap in between here where the student bypass this and straight away submit. So when this process goes, then the flow, the GPS, right? It's not functioning well. So it should have a proper framework, like how the supervisor mentioned how important the project prototype is. The supervisor should also highlight the importance of the writing documentation. Okay, so this is also to, right? So this is basically a productive supervision. First, of course, we need to respect each other. We have to share the commitment, and we have to maintain an open and transparent communication throughout the process. All right. So, for me, a research project means a project where the student will carry out together with the supervisors. The supervisors will be traveling along the journey. So there must be an engagement between the student and the supervisor, a respect between them, a commitment between them. Both the student and the supervisor should have a shared commitment. You have to finish a project. It's our project. That's how you behave. You encourage your student. Okay, so as a conclusion, effective supervision is very important. Supervisor's role, and continuously improve. So these three things must be very important, and we will be keep learning according to whatever students that we get, right? Of course, you have to have some supervision responsibility in order to supervise someone. Once you have the responsibility, you need to execute the responsibility. You cannot just let go your students. You need to guide them. Then your role, your students' progress, your students' achievement in order to achieve the target. If you ask me, it's how much effort you put in as your supervisor role. The more you guide them, the more you mentor them, the more you motivate them, the more you encourage them, the more they will move towards their success. And their success is your success too. And lastly, we have to improve ourselves as well, especially on the biasness, on the marking. Of course, in now based on my 5 years, 6 years of supervising, when I achieve or I gain many students, then the workload is there. How do I maintain the quality of my supervision? Also plays a big role. No point, I have so many students, but I cannot spend time with any students. I have no time. If students come and give me draft, thesis draft to check, I feedback after 6 months. That is not a good and effective supervision as well. So with that, sharing session. Is there any sharing session? I think we already shared. Is there anything that you guys want to share with me before I pass the floor back to Dr. Tan? All good? Anything from the floor, from our colleagues online?
Online, they just shared some of the AI tool that can, AI detector that they share the link on that. And they say that QuickBot is capable of identifying the utilization of AI.
Yeah, we can get back AI 50%. Okay. Anything want to share? No. We lapar already, right? Yes. Okay, I just wrap up. Supervising student, if I pass to Dr. Tan, my experience, I have encountered the worst problematic mental health student, and I've encountered a very, very good, awesome student. So I have experienced these two types of supervision. So the mental health student is quite bad until it really affected me emotionally, mentally, physically no lah, not that. But you feel effects, right? Hopefully, because he said he will report police lah, he will respond lah. So I really thank the management that they supported me. And at the same time, they also supported the student. So they had this win-win situation where they took care of the staff and took care of the student as well. So we tried to come up with one intervention program where now we finally graduated. But the impact of that student, it gave a big impact and a phobia, a trauma for me, right? I'm scared to supervise students with have mental health issues. Right. Second thing, I also have very good students who thinks they are over smart. Okay, this is another situation where supervisors face. Okay, because the student think that your lecturer doesn't know anything. Okay, so this is a situation where we as supervisors, we need to always improve ourselves. There is something maybe your student knows well, because now everything on click, right? But the experience that we have, the difficulty or the phase that we went through, they have not encountered. They all get it easy. So there is something that you must keep improving yourself. It should start within you, right? So that's where you need to tweak a bit on your supervision skill to supervise that kind of student. So it's a win-win situation where you can keep improving yourself. Okay, with that, thank you very much. I'll pass back the floor to Dr. Tan.
Okay, thank you all for attending this sharing session, whether physically or online. So I really appreciate your time. Okay, I think we started online class almost around 3 hours here. Okay, and I do find you all very sporty. Okay, I asked you all to act a certain scenario, you all did participate and active. Okay, so as for conclusion, I hope this sharing session benefits all. Even though it is not training, we just share some of our experience. What is the general guidelines? Of course, what we are sharing it is just general guidelines. So your supervision style might change from student A, student B, and student C. Okay, it is just guideline. Okay, for this good student, we have guidelines, but it depends, it's very subjective. It depends on the students that you are handling. So maybe at this particular semester, you're not doing well, okay, for the student under your supervision, regardless whether they are good or bad, but we learn along the way. So if you don't do well this semester, so for next semester, we learn from our experience, we will try to improve ourselves in terms of our supervision skills. So I guess that is all from us. If you're very open, if you have any question or what, do come and let us know. We are free to discuss. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Can we take a photo? Actually,
Let's go.
on them, on the camera.
I also.
Yeah. Okay.
No on the camera.
Mason. Get on the camera.
Yes.
On camera. That's for the. Oh, this is
Yes,
for
yes.
Okay. Next. Okay, ready, one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Take photo like that next time, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi guys.
Settle already ah? I don't know.